Hi everyone, I'm Sheila. I'm 15. For years, I've been following my mom's ridiculous rules. But I've had enough. Every family has rules that the kids have to follow. For example, do your homework on time, don't eat in front of the computer, turn off the lights when you leave the bathroom. These rules are normal, and I agree that they should exist. I wish our rules were like that. But my mom's rules are irrational, illogical, and totally meaningless. I'm sure you'll agree with me when I give you a few examples. Here's one. In our house, we are not allowed to watch movies or shows on our computers. I have to watch them on the TV in the living room. Why? Because my mom wants to see what I'm watching. Actually, this is sort of normal. But we have pieces of paper taped to the wall behind the TV. All the TV shows and movies that I'm not allowed to watch are listed on them. Every time my mom hears of a show or movie she thinks might be harmful, she adds it to the list. For instance, I'm not allowed to watch Sabrina because it's witchcraft propaganda. I can't watch superhero movies because, according to my mom, they don't make sense and they're putting strange ideas in my head. I think the weirdest movie that I'm not allowed to watch is Cinderella. Do you know why it's on the list? Because it makes mothers look bad. When my mom first told me that, I said, but that woman is the villain of the story, and also she's a stepmother. My mom wouldn't have it. There are no bad mothers, she said. As bad as the TV rules are, the ones for going online are even worse. First of all, I can only use the internet for 30 minutes on weekdays and an hour on the weekends. This is normal too. The problem is that my mom checks my phone and computer every Friday at 8 p.m. I show her my browser history, my Google search history, my YouTube history, and all my conversations with my friends. My mom goes through them all one by one. She asks me about websites she doesn't recognize or researches them herself. She looks through the names of the videos in my YouTube history and she watches those she thinks might be bad for me. If it were up to my mom, she wouldn't let me use the internet because it's something she's not familiar with. But thankfully, my dad always argues with her about it and he's on my side. That's the only reason she lets me go online, even if it's for a little while keeping everything I do there under strict control. My mom has another super weird rule about television. Let me tell you about that before I forget. She hates all the TV commercials. As soon as a commercial starts, she wants the TV turned off right away. Her mother, that is my grandmother, thought television was not appropriate for children. When my mom was little, she was only allowed to watch the commercials. She spent her childhood watching commercials on TV. By the time she got older, she couldn't stand them. If a commercial comes on while she's watching TV, she puts her hands over her eyes and starts screaming, "Turn off the TV! Turn it off!" in a panic. She looks so funny like that, but I can't laugh. Because if I do, I can get a punishment that will ruin my day. Do your parents make you follow rules that you think are weird? If so, please let me know in the comments. I actually think such ridiculous rules only exist in our house and nowhere else. When my friends come over for a sleepover, I have to let them know about the rules. It really embarrasses me to tell them, but I have no other choice. One time, there was a really unpleasant incident. In our house, it is absolutely forbidden to flush the toilet after my mom goes to bed. A friend of mine was staying over for the first time. Unfortunately, I forgot to tell her not to flush. Of course, like a normal person, she flushed the toilet after using it. When my mom heard the sound, she came running and pounding on the bathroom door, thinking it was me in there. My friend was obviously really scared and never came to our house again. My mom has a bunch of ludicrous rules related to sleep as well. I'm actually surprised that I've been able to follow all of them. For example, we can only put on our pajamas just before we go to bed, and we have to take them off as soon as we get up. You see, I can't wear my pajamas when I'm not in my bed. The weirdest part is that if I get up at night to go to the bathroom, I have to change into my normal clothes. Because that's the rule. When I get back from the bathroom, I need to change back into my pajamas before going back to bed. Because of this, I haven't been going to the bathroom at night for years. And of course, there's more. In our house, you can only use the bed at nighttime. For example, you can't just come home from school and say, "I feel so sleepy, I'll take a quick nap in my bed," or "I'll lie down on my bed and look at Instagram for a while," because we are absolutely forbidden to use the bed except when going to sleep at night. Even when I'm sick, I can only lie down on the couch in the living room. I can't go to my own bed until it's time to sleep at night. As I keep talking, I keep remembering more rules. My mom has some legendary rules about food. For instance, in our house, we are not allowed to drink any beverages while eating. Including water? I can almost hear you asking. That's right, since water is a beverage, we can't drink it either. Because my mom thinks that if we drink anything, the liquid will fill our stomach and we'll eat less. I usually have a hard time swallowing food because my throat is dry, but my mom never gives in. She says, you can drink after you finish eating. I can never argue with her at that moment because another one of her rules is to never speak while eating. Mom thinks that if I speak, my stomach will fill up with air and I won't eat enough. You might think I'm too thin or I eat very little, but of course, that is not the case at all. These are just my mom's weird obsessions. To stay on the subject of food, another rule at our house is that we can't hold the fridge door open for more than 10 seconds. Everything inside the fridge has designated spots. We open the fridge door, we take what we want from its spot, and close the door before our 10 seconds are up. So what happens when I don't obey the rules? As you might have guessed, I get punished. Just like our rules, the punishments in our house are also different. Breaking each rule is punished in a different way. For example, we're not allowed to fall asleep while watching TV. If I do fall asleep, my mom wakes me up immediately. For my punishment, I must go out and run 5 laps around the house. It doesn't matter if it's snowing outside or if it's after midnight. Whoever falls asleep watching TV runs 5 laps. You might ask, you may be following your mom's rules because you're a kid, but why is your dad doing it? I'm curious about that too. I think my dad is too in love with my mom. He really loves her. He can't say anything because he doesn't want to upset her. But what is my reason for obeying? Is it because I'm a kid? No. I love my mom too, and I honestly think she has psychological issues. Why else would she come up with such weird rules? Even though she puts me through hell at home, I do what she says because I love her so much. Still, I don't think I'll be living here after I turn 18. I'll go to college in another city so that I can move out of this house. Because, as I said in the beginning, I'm so tired of following all these meaningless rules. Although I try not to upset my mom, we had a huge fight last week. She doesn't allow whistling in the house. I don't know why. I'm guessing it's because she has some kind of bad memory of it from her childhood. On the other hand, this rule never bothered me because I've never been able to figure out how to whistle. When I was little, I saw my friends doing it and tried to do it a few times, but I could never make the right sound. After that, I never even thought about it again. That day last week, I had a ton of homework. After coming home from school, I went to my room and started working on it. I wasn't aware of the time. I didn't even hear my mom come home from work. Suddenly, she barged into my room. She doesn't have a habit of knocking anyway. As soon as she came in, she said, "Don't you know you can't whistle in this house?" I told her, "Mom, I wasn't whistling. That would not be possible. I don't even know how." My mom began yelling even louder. "Sheila, do you think I'm deaf? I'm making dinner in the kitchen. You've been whistling all these tunes." "I couldn't take it anymore," she said. Once my mom is hung up on something, it's impossible to convince her otherwise, so I just let it go. I said, "Okay, Mom, if you don't believe me, then there's nothing I can do," and shut up. But I'd never gotten punished for breaking the no whistling rule before. I had to ask, "So what's my punishment? What do you want me to do?" She said, "You'll be walking to and from school for 3 months. I got so mad. I said, "Mom, it would take me an hour and a half to walk to school. That means I have to get up an hour earlier every morning." And she started yelling again. That night was a nightmare. I was really upset. I cried all night. After a few hours of sleep, I woke up very early and walked to school. I kept crying on the way, too. I can say it was the worst day of my whole life. I'm still not over it. What's more, my mom is still not talking to me as if I'm guilty. I feel so relieved after sharing all this with you. If you're having problems because of the rules in your house, you can share them in the comments. I'm sure you'll feel much better too. Thank you for listening to me. Bye.